Hey there, fellow Star Wars fan. Today we're diving deep into the galaxy far, far away to explore the furry wonder that is Chewbacca. Who doesn't love this Wookiee co-pilot, right? Chewie's not your ordinary sidekick. He's a towering furry warrior with a heart of gold and a killer crossbow. Have you ever thought about how this iconic character functions? What lies beneath his long hair? Prepare yourself for an eye-opening video as we dissect it all exclusively for you. In today's video, we will study Chewbacca's anatomy from head to toe, delving into the secrets of his immense height, exploring the origins of his epic strength, and even trying to decipher those iconic growls. So, whether you're a massive Star Wars enjoyer or merely curious about the mysteries beneath all that fur, prepare for an exciting Wookiee adventure. So, without any further ado, let us begin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Chewbacca? From which species does he belong? Now, we are all pretty familiar with Chewbacca, that beloved fuzzball. This Wookiee legend originated from the majestic planet Kashyyyk. He was born in the Star Wars universe, approximately 200 years prior to the Battle of Yavin. His family tree consists of his father, Attokaiduk, along with a later inclusion being none other than his son, Lampawaru. His gig as the co-pilot of the legendary Millennium Falcon, steered by the smooth-talking Han Solo, was what catapulted him to fame. Chewbacca owes Han big time, since Solo saved him from a sticky situation, and that's when he swore a life debt to Han. And what's cooler than having a giant walking carpet as your loyal buddy? Now, Chewbacca's name. It's got some serious history to it. He's named after the great Baka, the first chief of Kashyyyk, and the guy who made that fancy leadership sword all the Wookiees look up to. So Chewie's got some royal lineage going on there. He may be a fierce warrior, but he's also a wise and loyal Wookiee. And let's not forget, he's a mechanical genius too. Chewie's also got quite the adventurous spirit. He left Kashyyyk at 50 years old on a mission known as the Rising Path, and from there, he went all over the galaxy. But deep down, his heart always belonged to his home planet, and he tried to make it back for the holidays. As he explored the galaxy, he got himself a bandolier and that epic bowcaster. Those were his way of telling people not to mess with him. It's pretty obvious by now that Chewbacca is not your average sidekick, but a legend in his own right, and he's had his fair share of tumultuous adventures. So, whenever you next encounter Chewie on screen, don't forget all of the extraordinary experiences he's been through. Essentially, Chewbacca was one of the Wookiee species, also known as the people of the trees in their own language. They originated from Kashyyyk, a planet that has been characterized by these unique inhabitants. Imagine a bunch of tall and really hairy humanoids, and that's essentially what a Wookiee looks like. They exude a passion for a life within the trees, almost like tree dwellers, and are capable of constructing magnificent tree houses amidst the lofty branches of the colossal Rasher trees, forming whole communities within their leafy realms and living in them like treetop monarchs. If you ever encounter a Wookiee, you won't be able to miss it. They're big, hairy, and instantly recognizable. And yeah, they've got some serious muscles, brains, loyalty, and a bit of a short fuse. But don't be fooled by their tough exterior. Most of the time, they're gentle giants. But push their buttons the wrong way, and you're in for a world of hurt, because they can go into a crazy rage when provoked. So remember, the Wookiees are more than just walking carpets. They're a unique and incredible part of the Star Wars galaxy. What does he look like? Chewbacca, our furry friend, was one big dude, standing at almost a whopping 3 meters tall and weighing about 150 kilograms. Picture this. He's covered head to toe in this lush, shaggy coat of hair that came in shades of brown and black. And don't forget that long, glorious beard he sprouted as he got older. He's like the ultimate hairball. Now here's a remarkable fact. Chewie had these extendable claws that were great for climbing trees on Kashyyyk. But here's the catch. Using those claws for anything other than climbing was a big no-no in Wookiee culture. It's all about their honor, you know? We'll get into that later on in the video. When it comes to food, Chewie was no lightweight. He had a hefty appetite, chowing down on around 3,500 to 6,000 calories a day. That's a lot of snacks, even for a Wookiee. And here's the deal with his personality. Despite looking like a walking carpet of fur, Chewbacca was actually one intelligent, sophisticated, and loyal dude. You could totally trust him with your life. But be warned, when he loses his cool, he'd go into full berserker mode, and that's not something you want to mess with. So he's the whole package. Brains, brawn, and a lot of heart. Wait.
Yeah, I speak a little now.
How does Chewbacca communicate? Well, Chewbacca, our lovable furball, had a bit of a language barrier going on. He could totally understand Basic, which is like English in the Star Wars universe. but the poor guy couldn't speak it. See, Wookiees have a different vocal setup that just doesn't jive with our human languages. So, what did Chewie do? He chatted it up in Shiriwook, the Wookiee language. And let us tell you, it's a full-on vocal workout with loads of growls and grunts. Trying to speak it as a non-Wookiee? Yeah, good luck with that. Your throat would be in for a wild ride. Chewbacca's pals, like Han Solo and the gang, would just respond in basic when they talked to him. So it was a bit like Chewie was this giant furry listener, but you could always count on his nods and roars to get the point across. That's just how he rolled in the galaxy far, far away.
You did to hand the world.
What are you doing? Trust him, trust him.
Does he have retractable claws? As we already know by now, Chewbacca had a secret weapon up his furry sleeve, or should we say paws? Retractable claws. Yeah, just like a cat. But Chewie didn't use them for scratching your furniture. He was all about climbing and hanging on to stuff. But here's the twist. Wookiees, including Chewie, aren't supposed to use those claws in a fight. It's all part of their honor code, and they don't mess around with that. Now, you might be wondering, why do they even have these claws then? Well, it's because they're born tree climbers. These claws came in handy on Kashyyyk, where it's basically a giant forest playground. The Wookiee homeworld is all about trees, and these retractables help Chewbacca swing through the canopy like a monkey. Living up in those trees is just what Wookiees like him do, and those claws help them do it like a bunch of pros. Chewbacca was all about that outdoor tree-dwelling life, and those retractables were his trusty sidekicks. So remember, if you ever challenge a Wookiee, don't expect any claw action. It's all about fair play in their world. Does his hair repel water? Chewbacca's got some seriously magical fur. It's like a built-in raincoat. That lush coat of his is a champ at repelling water, which is perfect because Kashyyyk is no stranger to swampy spots. So, even when it's pouring rain, Chewie stays cozy and dry. But the cool thing is that waterproof fur doesn't just keep him dry on land. It turns out our Wookiee buddy is also an ace swimmer. With that fur, he's like a floating buoy, gliding through the water like a pro. Who knew our favorite fuzzball was such a pro, even underwater? It's just another reason to love the big guy.
Chewie, take care of yourself, okay? Okay.
What makes him a mechanical wizard? Oh, Chewbacca was way more than just muscle. Besides being crazy strong, he had some mad skills when it came to flying and fixing stuff. What we mean to say is the guy was practically a wizard with the Millennium Falcon. He knew that ship inside and out, and he could work those controls faster than a speeding blaster shot. Now, he wasn't the type to fuss over the nitty-gritty details, but when it came to tech, he had this natural talent. Chewie could figure out how pretty much any gadget worked, whether it was a droid or a transmitter. He was even known to whip up new stuff from scraps, like building his trusty bowcaster, which was like every Wookiee's signature weapon. He'd tinker with the design, using unusual parts from stuff like stormtrooper rifles to make them. So, not only was Chewbacca a force to be reckoned with in a brawl, but he was also the ultimate handyman and tech genius. That Wookiee could do it all. Does he use a lightsaber? What is Chewbacca's favorite weapon? Chewbacca might have been handy with a lightsaber now and then, but his go-to weapon was the bowcaster, a classic Wookiee choice. The dude was all about tradition, and he'd crafted more than a few of these bad boys in his time. Now, let us tell you about these bowcasters. They're like a mix of old-school skills and modern tech. You needed Wookiee-level muscles to handle these things because they fired these metal quarrels wrapped in plasma energy, and when they hit, boom, you got some serious fireworks. But Chewie's bowcaster was a bit of a rebel. See, it had this automatic cocking system, which wasn't exactly traditional, but hey, it worked for him. He'd also sport this cool hand-woven Kishivine strap and a bandolier loaded with ammo cases. The latest version of this iconic weapon even used parts from those Imperial Stormtrooper blasters. So, Chewbacca's bowcaster was like a piece of Wookiee art, blending the best of their culture with some high-tech oomph. When Chewie aimed that thing, you knew he meant business. What's Chewbacca's favorite food in the Star Wars galaxy? Alright, let's talk about Chewbacca's eating habits. You might wonder what a big guy like him chows down on, right? Well, Chewie's an omnivore, so he's into both plants and meat. And believe us, he's got a hefty appetite. There's this funny scene where he goes all out on 2 porgs, which are kind of like space chickens. Our guess is that they're only one of the things on the menu when Chewie's feeling hungry. Wookiees typically live in the treetops of Kashyyyk, so their diet leans towards the meatier side of things. But they also enjoy wild plants, berries, and spicy stuff. Oh, and when they say spicy, they mean it. Their spices could be too much for us humans to handle without burning up our throats and stomachs. Now, here's a quirk. Wookiees aren't big fans of Blosfy extract, but they'd eat it when they had to. It's not a gourmet choice. but it keeps them going. Chewbacca had a thing for potent alcoholic drinks too, but the kind that he liked would put humans under the table real quick. And don't worry, despite some cheeky implication, Chewie never got desperate enough to snack on humans, so you can rest easy. There's no Wookiee dining on us anytime soon. Marvelous verdict. So there you have it, folks. We've peeled back the fur, so to speak, to dig into the anatomy of our beloved Wookiee, Chewbacca. From his towering height to that fantastic bowcaster, Chewie is one extraordinary character in the Star Wars universe. We've learned how his fur keeps him dry on swampy Kashyyyk, how he uses his retractable claws for climbing, and the fact that he's a jack of all trades, from piloting the Millennium Falcon to fixing stuff. And hey, don't interrupt the Wookiee while he's busy with his private activities, because that's a surefire way to get on his bad side. Chewbacca's life was full of adventure, loyalty, and sacrifice. His memory lives on as a symbol of courage and honor, so next time you see him on screen, you'll appreciate all the incredible details that make this Wookiee a true legend in a galaxy far, far away. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and may the Force be with you always. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.